Hi, I'm Moshe Fried, and I'm thrilled to be here today to introduce ClasStars to a brand new group of teachers who are going to be using it for the very first time. We're so excited to see the impact that it's going to have on their classroom, particularly the way they are able to interact with each and every student and make sure that every single child in their room has the chance to succeed and build deep, meaningful relationships that will help them grow and develop to their fullest potential. Let's dive right into it. My name is Moshe Fried, and I'm a social worker, and I've developed an app based on the interactions that I've had with kids, their teachers, and their parents over many, many years. And the goal of this was, there's so much going on in a classroom. Teachers are really demanded from on such a high level that it is impossible not to overlook things. And it's one thing if you overlook sharpening a pencil. It's another thing if you overlook a kid in the classroom. And very often these kids don't have the wherewithal to speak up for themselves, to get the teacher's attention. There are kids in every classroom that just can't get the teacher's attention. And in a classroom, the teacher's attention is gold. The kids who can get it will do okay. They might not be amazing, but they'll be okay. The kids who can't get it are the ones that are most at risk, and we don't even see it in many cases. So we've developed this tool that makes it really simple for teachers to identify the kids that are most at risk of not being noticed. And this way you can prioritize them and see them. Now, today we're going to talk about two things, because everybody here is going to get a tablet, and your classes are already set up. And there are going to be two parts. The first part, we're going to set up the class because it has a customized seating chart. So however your class is set up, you'll be able to set up the screen to be an actual map of your class. It makes it very easy to find the kids that you're looking for to record information. The next thing that we're going to do is take attendance. And it's going to be the simplest way you've ever taken attendance. And the coolest thing about it is once you take attendance on ClasStars, the office already has it. So you don't need to do anything else. And no one will ever come to you and say, where's your attendance sheet? Okay? So we're going to make this really, really simple. That's the first part of what we're going to talk about. And that's something that everybody's going to do. The second part is where we're going to talk about a framework that makes sure that you really have an inclusive classroom, that every single child is seen and engaged and supported sufficiently so that they have a chance to thrive. Because if we're not mindful of it, it's very easy to overlook those things. So I would ask if we can give out the iPads to everybody. So if you look at your iPad, this is the first screen that you get when you tap the ClasStars icon. Okay, it should say, welcome to ClasStars Enterprise, please log in. You'll notice that at the top there's an Enterprise button and a single user button. So if you ever log in and it doesn't look like this, the first thing you should do is check that at the top that you're on Enterprise, because if you're on single user, it'll look like this. Okay, it'll be very similar, but that's when your entire school is not on the system. And if you have a friend who's a teacher who wants to use this and their entire school is not interested in doing this, an individual teacher can download this app and do this on their own. So that's what single user license is for. But today we're going to do enterprise license, and there are many benefits to the enterprise license, including, like what I mentioned earlier, that once you take attendance, the office already has it. Now you're going to be signing in with your email address. Does everybody see this? Okay, terrific. Okay, now in order to activate your class, what you're going to do is tap on this tile where it says the name of the class, and you will see the kids from that class show up. We're going to keep this as simple as possible today. So what I'm going to tell you, and this is super important, we have a website, ClassStars.com. You can log on to this website, and when you tap here, you can get a free training. So if you tap on that button, all you need to put in your first name, last name, and your email address, and you can put in any email address. It doesn't have to be the same one as the device. You do sign up now, and then you'll have videos where I will explain everything to you, okay? You don't have to do everything. We're focusing on two things today: setting up your class and taking attendance. And then we're going to talk about making sure that you see every child, but that's bonus, that's afterwards. The important thing is that everybody that leaves here today should feel very confident that they can take this into their classroom and very easily take attendance, as easy as it's ever been. Now, once you tap on your class, the kids are going to show up. Okay, now everybody's class is set up differently, and the way you customize that, you'll see at the top of the screen, there's a button that says Arrange Layout. Here it's over here because I have actual data here. But there's an Arrange Layout button. You tap on that button. When you tap on the Arrange Layout button, you get this. You get this screen, okay? You can add a column or row to any side by tapping on the plus button on any side. So you tap on the plus at the top, it opens up a new row in the back. Okay, so you can set up the grid for however you want to set up your class. And then all you need to do is tap on one kid. That will highlight the kid in blue. You tap on another kid over here and they'll switch spots. So you could very easily set this up that it should look exactly like the way your class is set up. After your class is set up, at the top of the screen it says End Arrange. When you tap on End Arrange, you'll have a choice to save or cancel the changes. So you tap on Save, and then it will bring it back. One second, it will bring it back to the screen with the new setup that you have. Just set up the class in the center. All of the rows on the outside will automatically be taken away. Raise your hand if you have two classes with the same kids in the class. Okay, so if you have that, there's a very simple way. If you tap on the class that you arranged and you slide the tile over to the left, you'll see a little button open up over here. And if you tap on that, that will allow you to export the layout that you just customized to another class. So this way you don't have to set up your class in every single class that you have. You copy the seating layout for 20 students in demo class 2 to demo class 1. So if everybody will look here on the screen, you could see how the second tile here can slide over. By tapping on this button, it brings you to this screen. And now I can copy the seating layout from 20 students in demo class 2, which was the tile that I slid over, to demo class 3. So by tapping on that, I check this off, and then the layout that I just customized before, I do OK, copy the layout, I tap the button here, and now the same layout here will apply here. You can have different class layouts for different classes and you can customize each one, but this is just a simple way of copying it over to another classroom. Is everybody ready? Now we're going to dive in. Raise your hand if your favorite part of teaching is taking attendance. That's great. Okay, so here's how you do it. I want everybody to do it together. So you'll notice on the bottom of the screen over here, I don't have it on my screen, but you'll have a little button that says Set Up Demo Class. Okay, at the bottom, create a new demo class. So tap on that because that's going to give you this class. It's a fake class of kids that you can play around with all of the features of ClasStars, and it will not affect the data collection for your student. And I will also show you how to delete a class if you want to play around with it and then delete that class. So we're going to cover everything, make sure that you know how everything works. So the first thing that you do, okay, when you want to start a class, there is this apple here in the class that underneath it says Start. We'll do it like that. So when you tap on the apple, you'll get this pop-up, Start a New Session. Okay, this is how you start the class. You tap on the apple, it gives you this pop-up. Now this is going to say that the session will end at a specific time. It doesn't matter. You have to end the session. This is just a recommendation, and we can actually customize however long the periods are here. So it'll automatically, and there's a countdown timer on the clock that gives you an idea of how much time you have left to the session. But if this is not relevant, then you can just ignore it. The other thing that you can do is you can enter a descriptive session name. So if you want to title the class, you can tap in this box and then type in the specific class of the day. You could title it. If you don't title it, the default name will be the date and the time that you started the class. So it's really simple, really easy. You don't have to put anything in here. And then you just tap the Start button, okay? And here is where the magic begins, okay? Here you will see each and every one of your beautiful children smiling, proudly displayed on the screen in the places where they're supposed to be sitting. And everyone is assumed to be here because that's the way it's supposed to be. Okay, so you see everybody, they're all smiling, and here they are. If someone is absent, let's say in this case Norman is absent, all you need to do is tap on Norman's picture, just like that. And you'll see how his picture faded. He has a little A next to him, And that's how we know that Norman is absent. So you can each do this. Start the class, mark some kids absent, okay? And just like that, you mark that Norman and Jocelyn are absent. If you tap on an absent student, that will mark them late. So if you're in the middle of taking attendance and you're marked a student absent and then they come in late, all you need to do is tap on them a second time, okay? Now let's say you tapped the wrong student. She wasn't absent or late. A third tap will bring her back to being present. So it's really simple. 1 tap absent, 2 taps late, 3 taps back present, okay? Very simple. And all you need to do is look around and see which seats are empty and tap on those kids. And when you're done, there's a button at the bottom that says End Attendance. And you tap on that button. And then you have an option to either continue attendance, maybe you hit it by mistake, so you would tap Continue Attendance, or you go to class. And when you tap Go to Class or check homework, that's also an option. When you go into a class that the teacher took attendance in the morning, you will have the ability to take attendance from scratch. If you don't want to know what the attendance record was in the morning, you can look around on your own, or you can import the attendance record from the morning. And this way, when you bypass the attendance screen, you won't have to tap on the kids. You'll come straight into this screen, and whoever was absent in the morning will still show up as absent. What if somebody comes late, right? So I took attendance, I'm on this screen now, and Norman walks in 20 minutes late, right? So he comes into the door. All I need to do to mark that Norman came in is double tap on his picture, and you'll see this pop up. I have 2 options. I can mark late, or I can mark not absent. Not absent means that he was never absent. He was really on time. That credits him from being on time to class. Late marks that he came late. But not only are we marking that he came late, we're also marking the time that he came late. Because there is a big difference between someone who comes 2 minutes late and someone who comes 20 minutes late. And sometimes kids have a hard time in the morning, and let's say their parents bring them, so they'll come a half hour, 40 minutes late to class, and then you work with the parents and you try to get them earlier, and then they're only coming 20 minutes late to class. That's progress. That 10 minutes earlier that they're coming is progress that you want to notice. You want to be able to see that, because when people are working and not making progress, they tend to give up. But when people are working and are making even subtle progress, and you compliment them on that, that's great motivation to keep them working harder until they finally do what they're supposed to be doing. And even if they don't make it to be coming on time, kids deserve credit for the progress that they made. We can't measure it in all or nothing, and marking a kid late is so vague. It doesn't speak to the effort and struggle that a lot of kids are struggling with to come on time. So everything that you do here, every record that you take here is automatically timestamped, and we have charts and dashboards and reports, which we will not get into today, maybe a little bit, that will show you all of this data in a very simple way that you can see trends if kids are coming more late, less late, various different things. So we'll get into all of that with due time. When a student comes in late, so Norman is late, if you single tap on Norman, there's a little switch here that says not excused. And when you tap on that switch, it will mark him as being excused. Not only that, but you'll see there's a little camera and a little note. You can type a note by tapping on the note. So if you want to add a note to that, you can. We discourage teachers from typing notes during class because it can be cumbersome. But you can also take a picture. So if the student comes in with a late note, you can tap on the camera, activate the camera. If you tap on the and then you can put that image of the late note to the late record. So you actually have that in the system, okay? So any event that you record can always have a note or an image attached to it. And you'll see that outside of class. You're not going to see that inside of class. This will sit nearby, and as soon as they come in, you double tap on them. They're there. Everyone is there. It should be there throughout the day. Whenever somebody comes in, you just double tap on their picture and mark that they're late. Let's say you forgot to mark a kid absent in attendance mode. So you started the class, you took attendance, you come into class, and then you realized that Valentine is absent and I forgot to mark her absent. You do a single tap on Valentine, and at the bottom here, you have the option to mark them absent or late. So even during class, you can mark any student absent or late. If you mark her absent, she'll just fade and have the A. But if you mark a student late, you're going to get this pop-up, and you will be able to slide this over to the time that the student came in. So if a student, since we started our class at 11:52, that's the start time of the class. Right now is 12:04. So if she came late, it's going to be during this time somehow. You slide this little slider over to the time that she came in late, and then you tap accept, and that will mark the late record of a student that you forgot, that you missed, and you can make that up afterwards. But the easiest way is just when she comes in, double tap, mark late, and it's done. This is really, really important. When we're marking attendance, like somebody asked beforehand, there's a difference if a student is coming late for a good reason or not. If the bus comes late, that's certainly not the kid's fault. But they still missed class time. Unless you're waiting to start the class, if a student misses instruction time or even playtime, because that's important, then they're late. So if you mark them late and they had a good reason, mark them late and then excused. But if you're gonna be nice to them and mark them as if they're on time, that's gonna mess up some other data that you're collecting, because missing class time has consequences, whether we like it or not. If you're not there during instruction time and you're not missing anything, then there's something wrong with that instruction time, right? The time is very valuable. So we're looking really for as objective data as we can. So we give you the opportunity to mark a student late, excused. If the bus came late, they're all excused, no problem, but they still missed that time. And it still may play into other trends of leaving class, leaving early, misbehavior, not participating academically. There are other things that will play into it that it's really, really important to know. Attendance means, are you there or not? And that comes to the next point. What if a student needs to leave early? Or what if a student needs to leave in the middle of class? So you'll notice on the bottom corner over here, you have these 3 dots. Okay, they should have 1 dot in the center of the circle. That's what it should look like. Okay, that's for single swipe mode. And that makes things really simple. If a student ever needs to leave the classroom for any reason, all you do, and I'm gonna swipe on Jocelyn here in the center, all you do is swipe her picture to the right. Okay, when you swipe on a student to the right, that indicates that that student just left. A double tap will bring her back. If the kids are going out for services, which is legitimate, they should be going out for services, do we mark that too? And the answer is the same as when the bus comes late. The answer is yes. Because if kids are missing significant class time, that will explain a lot of other problems. A lot of academic difficulties, a lot of behavioral difficulties. Kids need a certain foundation of consistency, predictability in order to thrive. And if we don't know how much class time kids are missing, we might be actually feeding into their struggle, and we don't want to do that. So you'll mark them out every time they leave, and to bring them back, you just double tap on them, and that will mark them back. And it's timestamped, so you know exactly how much time they're missing. You could tap on this button at the bottom, again, and you'll see that instead of having the single circle in the middle, there are 5 circles around the single circle. And now, when you swipe a child to the right, you get a pop-up of different items that can actually allow you to record where they went. Okay, so if I send a student out for services, I tap on services, and she's out for services. She'll have this little icon here, so you'll always be able to remind yourself that she's out for services. Okay, let's say I'm sending someone out for discipline. She'll have the discipline icon. If someone's out for the restroom, you tap on the restroom icon. Now, I want to be very, very clear. There are other features to this tool that you will have ability to access. It's all available to you, and you can learn how to use it by logging on to the training. And there are 4 modules in the training, and you can explore that on your own time. They're short videos. They're all around 10 minutes long. Some are 13, some are 7, but they're in that ballpark of time, and you can do it on your phone, on your computer, anywhere. You go to ClasStars.com and you can log in. You put in your name and email address, then you check your email and confirm that it's you. We've all done this before, and you'll have those videos. The 4 modules elaborate on the following 4 subjects. Number 1 is positive engagement. Okay, it's really simple. When you engage kids in a positive way, you want to keep track of that because we overlook kids and we don't want to overlook anybody. That module will explain that in great detail, how to do it with single swipe, how to do it with full function. Everything has the ability to just swipe, like we did with marking out of the room, which just gives you the basic information, the basic idea. And then we have a wheel that gives you more details. So we'll get into that on the very surface level today. You'll be able to dive deep into that through the training, and I will come back again in a few weeks, whatever it is, we'll work out some time to follow up and elaborate more on all of that. So step 1 is to make sure that everybody gets positive feedback every day. Step 2 is to record misbehaviors. And that is a whole talk unto itself, because when we're recording misbehaviors, there are 2 ways that we can do it. We can either do it because we're police officers and we want to make sure we have a record of all the misbehaviors. That's one way to do it, but that's not the purpose here at ClasStars. The purpose with ClasStars is to understand that when a child is misbehaving, it most often is a cry for help. They need more support. And so those kids, after you've engaged everybody in a positive way in your classroom, you want to prioritize the kids that are struggling the most. So you record misbehaviors so that you have a simple record of how frequently and when kids are tending to act out, and making sure that those kids are getting extra support. And then you can see how that intervention is helping or not. So again, Module 1 is going to focus on positive engagement, making sure that everybody's included. Module 2, we call it identifying invisible progress, because so many times I would work with kids, and I'm sure you see it too, where kids are working really hard and trying to improve, and their progress is just invisible. We react to them as if they're not improving. Again, because we're distracted, there's just a lot on our minds, and unless you're specifically mindful and conscious of this, you're not going to see it. You need something to show you this kid has made incremental, subtle progress. That's really important. The kid who's acting out 10 times a day can wake up one morning and say, you know what, I want to be good from now on. But they struggle, it's hard for them, and they may only act out 5 times that day. If you're not mindful of this, you will not notice that at all. And they just had a 50% improvement in their behavior that's going to go completely unnoticed. And that's why so many kids say it doesn't pay to try. Because when I try, it doesn't matter. I'm still not perfect. I still get rebuked the same way. My efforts are not acknowledged. And that's why the kids say this. And I've heard this so many times, and we need to do something to prevent that from happening. And that's a big piece of what ClasStars does. The 3rd module is academic engagement. Again, a separate talk, not for today. The video will explain it, and we'll get back to it another time. And the 4th piece is real-time attendance, which we are talking about today. And that's to make sure that not only that kids are here, the research on attendance is clear. Okay, kids who are absent more than 10% of the time have an over 50% chance of failing. It's staggering. It's staggering. You don't need to be absent a lot to put yourself in a really, really difficult position. And that's just taking data of absences. We're not talking about kids leaving during class, kids missing valuable instruction time, valuable class time. That's also happening, and we're not even keeping track of it. But now we are. So this is really important. Now, Darwin, Kristen, I know why she's out. She's out for discipline. So I'm not worried where she's going, because I know she's in good hands. She's with Mrs. Rosenshine. Jocelyn, I don't know why she's out, because I recorded that on single swipe, so we'll leave that alone. Bonnie is out for speech therapy, so that's fine. But Darwin's been out in the bathroom, and I don't know how long he's been out. And that could be a problem. It might not be a problem, but it might be a problem. A single tap on a student who's absent will bring up the menu at the bottom and will give you your last record recorded. He's out 7 minutes. Okay? Everyone could clap. Okay? This is great. Now you know. So it's possible that a kid might come back and you'll forget. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about making mistakes. There are ways of undoing things, which we will not get into today because it's complicated and I want to keep things really simple. To start, here's what I'll tell you. Very often, and I'm sure you've all sat in on these meetings, and I've sat in on countless of these meetings, where you have a teacher and a parent and an administrator, and we're all coming together to try to help a kid, okay? I've noticed this a long time ago. Very few teachers come into this field because they love working with parents, okay? It's not the parents that excites us about this, and when we have to meet with parents, it's very, very challenging. So we want to be able to talk to them in intelligent ways that are supportive. We're not looking at anecdotal data, okay? I've sat in so many times where a teacher would give a story of what happened, and you know what the parent does? The most amazing thing. Oh, when did that happen? Oh, that was the day after we had the wedding, so he was very tired. The parents will make excuses for their kids on anecdotal data, because if you tell them a story, the parents will not want to criticize their kids. They're not going to understand that what you're telling them is really a small sample of what goes on every day here. They think that's why you called them down. Okay, now these are very intelligent people, but if you ever watch the nature shows, when a baby of an animal is attacked, the mother gets into a completely different state of mind, and we're no different that way. Okay, you try attacking our children, we become very protective of them. So these parents are not wrong for protecting their children, but it's not a useful conversation. So we don't want to talk to them about an isolated incident. We want to talk to them about patterns. If a child goes out to the bathroom for 20 minutes once, that's not an issue. It's only an issue if it's a pattern that is recurring, if it's happening all the time. So if you make a mistake one time and a kid is out longer than usual, it will wash in the data. The statistics will wash in the data. You don't have to worry about being perfect, okay? So with everything that you do here, there's ways to correct all the mistakes. There's no problem about that. But just for the sake of simplicity, and you're starting a new tool, and it is difficult to start a new tool, our goal here is that everybody should be able to take attendance tomorrow with ClasStars. And if you feel ambitious and you really want to try to take the next step, use it for what we call real-time attendance as well. If a student needs to leave the room, swipe them out on single swipe. If you want to feel really ambitious, switch it to full function and mark where they're actually going. And when you're done with the class, there's a button at the top of the screen here with a little door with an exit. That's how you close the class, and this is really important because everything is time-stamped. If you don't close the class, everything that you record is saved. But because we're time-stamping everything, the time that you start and finish is really important. If somebody goes to the bathroom at the end of the day and misses just a minute because it was the last minute of the day, that should be the record, that they missed a minute of class time for going to the bathroom. If you leave it open, it will just continue running. So it's really, really important that you close the classes at the end. You're going to come back here. These are the dashboards. Okay, we've got a bunch of different dashboards and reports here, and you can share them, and you can email them, and print them, and do all kinds of wonderful things. I'm going to show you 2 dashboards today, because those are the 2 attendance dashboards. And again, you don't even have to submit your attendance to the office. There will be a person in the office that can log in and print out an attendance report for everyone. You don't have to ever think about that again. Let me just show you 2 dashboards. So this dashboard, which is the default dashboard that you see, is called the snapshot dashboard. And there are 3 icons next to every kid. The top one is going to show how they're doing academically, which we didn't talk about today. The middle one is going to show how they're doing behaviorally, which we didn't talk about today. And the bottom one is going to show how they're doing in attendance. So we're focused really on this bottom one. And it works with traffic light colors. Green means that they're fine. Yellow means that they need attention. And red means that it's urgent. So this will give you, and as you're using the program more and more, this gives you a snapshot into how everyone is doing in this class. If you have the same students in more than one class, it will collect the data per class. These students that have the red attendance markers, they're really struggling with attendance. Their attendance data is in a bad place. The bottom one is only attendance, and that's what we're focused on now. If you tap on this button where it says snapshot, you'll get a pop out here, and we have dashboards for behaviors, attendance, and homework. But we're going to look at attendance right now. Okay, homework's another thing. Okay, every student will have a pie chart next to their picture. Okay, The green part of the pie represents the times that they're present. That's good. The red represents the times that they're absent. The yellow marks the times that they came late, and the blue marks the time that they left in middle of class or left early. So you'll see this next to every student. Now let's take Jocelyn for an example. She has a colorful chart. If you tap on her chart, you get a little pop out here, and this will tell you the counts and the time. There were 7 classes totaling 4 hours and 11 minutes. Of those, she was present 6 times, totaling 3 hours and 27 minutes. She was absent once for a total of 14 minutes. She was never late, and she left 3 times, missing a total of 30 minutes. So this is going to tell you everybody's real-time attendance in that class. Super valuable. Now, if you want to drill down even deeper, you tap on the 3 dots that every student has. Okay, and that will bring you into that particular student's individual attendance dashboard. This is Jocelyn's individual attendance dashboard. Across the top is the timeline, so you can drag these in and out. You can adjust it. This is looking at July 6th to July 31st. You can pull these in and out and slide this along to different times. Along here, you have a list of every single time that a student left for services, missed 4 minutes, excused from school, missed 4 minutes, disciplinary, missed 3 minutes. You'll have every single record here. You can put a picture or a note here too, and if you put one in during class, you'll be able to view that here by tapping on the picture or the note. And here we have a timeline. So you'll see the green is time that they're present. It starts from the beginning of the class until the end of the class. And this starts from the beginning of July to the end of July. And every green is the present, red is absent if they missed an entire day. If they come late, it'll show yellow, and that'll be in the beginning of the class, and you'll see at what point they came in, and you can see if they're getting later, if they're getting earlier. And blue means that they left class. So you could see here, there's different clumps of blue here. You could see if there's a pattern to that, if it's getting worse, if it's getting better. So this will give you some really valuable data. If you need to sit down with a principal or a psychologist or a parent, and you have this with you, you can definitely make a much clearer argument for whatever it is that you need. You have the data to support you. It's clear. You can see progress. You can see struggle. You can see everything that's going on in attendance. We have obviously other dashboards for other things that we haven't spoken about, but today the focus is attendance, because you know what? If you don't show up, it's over. The kids who don't come are just not here. There's no hope if you can't show up. It has to start with attendance, and we need to take really good attendance. We need to make sure that attendance doesn't mean that I'm present for attendance taking time, because that happens too. Attendance means I'm in the room during instruction time. If I leave, mark them out. When I come back, mark them back. It's really simple, it's really quick, and it's going to change the way you interact with your kids on a daily basis. Let's say you have this screen and you want to share this with somebody. There is a button here at the top that looks like the share button. Okay, so if you tap on this, you have 2 choices. One is cancel, that doesn't count. You can share your screen, and that will just take a screenshot of that screen that we just saw. You can also say, right, the question here is, do you have permission to share identifiable information on the students? Okay, so that means if you're sharing it with the parent, that's okay. But if you're sharing it with someone that has no permission, you would tap no, hide sensitive info. And when I do that, you'll notice that the name is jumbled up and the picture is covered over with a heart eyes emoji because we love them. And that covers up all identifiable information. The data is the same, but now this becomes an anonymous student. And then you can share that by using the controls on your device as well. So this is step 1 of ClasStars. I hope to come back really soon to get your feedback on how this is working so far. Again, keep it simple. Keep it simple. You take attendance, start a class, mark who's absent, mark who's late, mark if people need to leave in the middle of class, mark when they come back, close your class. That's it. You can review all of this on the training. Just go straight to Module 4, Real-Time Attendance. Watch the introduction, that's a basic overview, and then real-time attendance will show you everything about the way we take attendance and everything that we spoke about today. Thank you so much. You've been really, really amazing. I really hope you enjoyed this presentation. Learn more about ClasStars at www.classstars.com, and don't forget to sign up for our free training. Download the free app to any tablet device, iPad, Android, or Windows, and get started today.